All right. What up? What up? What up? How is everybody doing? Happy New Year, folks, and welcome to the first edition of 27 Outs here in 2026. Hope you guys enjoyed the holidays, I must say. Christmas went by, New Year's Eve went by. Clearly, we're still, dealing with New Year's Day. But yeah, man, it's been over, I think, what, about a week and a half now, maybe 10, 11 days, something like that, since we last spoke to you guys. It's been a while. But clearly we are here tonight because Imai has finally made his decision, right? But anyway, as always, I am Ivan alongside Stefan. And before we get into tonight's show, Stefan, before I pass it over to you, I just want to take a minute or two real quick because I kind of feel like we didn't get the opportunity to, hit the mics, one last time. I mean, obviously we did a final show in 2025, but to really send you guys off the right way for rocking with us, right? So I just want to say thank you for everyone who showed love, whether it be a like, a comment, a subscription, a follow on social media. The list goes on. It was a really great year for us. And, I know Stefan, he could also attest to that. Still the very beginning. That's something that I'm huge on saying here on the platform, but it is important to acknowledge, what we've been able to accomplish together, right? One thing that Stefan and I always like to emphasize here on the show is the fact that we want to work. And I think you guys are seeing that, right? Especially for those who have been here for some time now. But anyway, enough about the rant. As I mentioned, Imai, he's finally going someplace. I see some of you guys here ready in the chat. What up, Shrek? I see you still being your usual self in the new year. Stefan, how are you feeling, bro? I see you got like a makeover over there. What's going on? You got the jersey? Talk to us, bro.
Nah, man. This is couple Christmas gifts on display. There's an empty space there. There's gonna be I had two Yankee ones, but we took the second Yankee one down because there's a MLB neon light that is on his way to the crib. So by the next time you see us, there will be a Major League Baseball neon light behind me. So we are reworking some things. We are getting some things up and running. We got a Yankee neon light in the back. I got a Major League Baseball one on the way. I got the Michael Jordan minor league jersey on right now. So
Yo, that Major League Baseball one, you might have to send me that link, bro. I think I might want to put that right behind me.
you know I'll send you the Amazon link as soon as we get out of here. And you
Mhm.
wouldn't believe when you see the price for what I paid for this thing, you're gonna be shocked. So now we're making some stuff over, man. We're making some stuff over and had to come in here and do it, do it big for you guys. But let's start with this, man. The Houston Astros did something that I didn't expect them to do per se, but if this kid is as good as we say he is, Tatsuya Imai, they got him for a steal. And my only question at the top of this is where was everybody else?
Right.
If this was all it cost, where was everybody else? Before I start yelling and ranting and raving, Happy New Year to y'all. I echo what Ivan said. I just want to get that out the way. But question at the top, where was everybody else, bruh? Are you kidding me? 3 years, 54 million? That's all it took to get this done?
That's it.
Are you kidding me? Listen, you could sit here and tell me, oh, well, we didn't believe in him and we didn't really believe in his, we didn't believe the hype. We didn't believe nothing like that. Are you kidding? You got a 27-year-old pitcher that's throwing anywhere between 98 to 100 with a changeup that if you talk to anybody in the industry is next level. And this is all he gets? To me, this signifies two things, bro. One, that the big market team just is out. They're not doing anything. The Yankees don't believe they need to spend on pitching, which they don't. They have enough to cover it if they so choose to go that way, right? The Dodgers, they don't want to do this. The Mets, I don't understand the Mets. The Mets is the part that I don't personally get, but we'll get into that. I'm going to tell you something right now. The Houston Astros, between him and Hunter Brown, boy, if this works, you got something special at the top of that rotation if he's able to come in and do what experts around the game think he's capable of.
Of course. I love the way how you started what you got into there, Stefan, because you said something along the lines of, nobody really knowing that he was going to go to the Astros, right? We had talked about it in a previous show earlier this offseason where there was some so-called finalists, right? The Yankees were thrown out there, the Phillies, the Cubs. We had even put a clip out there after the fact. And it looks like, and I think it's also okay. I think we have to come to a point, not you and I, Stefan, right? But of course, people who work for Major League Baseball, right? People who actually are beat reporters for whoever it is that they work for. Listen, if you don't have it, then you just don't have it, right? Like for us to really be sitting around thinking that he's going to go to one of these teams and here comes the Astros, not saying that things like that don't happen because it happens with Americans, right? Like guys who are actually from here.
Yeah.
But for people to be absolutely wrong is just insane. Like, just say that. That's all I'm saying. Just say that. And shout out to the Astros for snagging him up for that cheap.
I will tell you, listen, I was wrong, right? Because ultimately, I had him going to either the Cubs or the Yankees. So I got that wrong. But the difference between us and them is me willing to sit up here and say, you know what? I got that wrong. My bad. I'll be better. I didn't, you know what I mean? Nobody saw the Astros involved in this. The second point I want to make, though, is it feels like Major League Baseball is waiting for the Japanese shoe to drop. I'm going to explain what I mean. Ohtani, we already know he's otherworldly. He's an alien. Yamamoto is otherworldly. He's an alien. We already see the future in Sasaki. That kid can pitch. He's a flamethrower. He's young. It feels like the market right now is waiting for the bottom to fall out of the Japanese market, where it's been so good for so long that it kind of feels like these teams, these executives, and everybody in the game is going, all right, bro, maybe this is all too good to be true because there's no level of aggression like there was in past years with these Japanese free agents. Now, two things could be true, and I want to get your opinion on this right here. Yes, the big market teams wasn't involved, like I mentioned just a couple minutes ago, but it also feels like there is a level of skepticism is the word, where it's like, how many Japanese players can come over here and be stars and be successful before the bottom falls out and we all get duped by either a player, an agent, a situation where we overpay for a player and it just doesn't work. It feels like Major League Baseball is now waiting to see, are these guys legit? Is a Murakami legit? Is a Tatsuya Imai legit? Is a Akamoto legit? Like, it feels like that's where we are. Am I wrong to assume that, bro? Because that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I certainly do believe that teams are still heavily interested when it comes to the Japanese market. But as you mentioned, right, in the case of a guy like a Yamamoto or Ohtani, where the moment they basically announce that, they want to come over here to the States, they're pretty much more than likely going to land whatever it is that they're putting out there, right? And in this case, because we had heard about Murakami for some time now, we had seen him in the previous World Baseball Classic, right? Imai, he was supposed to be, he was an ace in Japan, but coming over here, apparently the game is supposed to translate well. And now we look at how it ended up for both of those guys. I think teams would still like to have them, in this case, the Astros and the White Sox, of course, but I don't think they necessarily want to give these guys exactly what they're asking for up front.
I think I agree with you, but here's the point I'm gonna take too, is there's warts in each one of their games, right? Like you see warts in Murakami defensively. We don't know whether he can play third at the big league level. We don't even know if his game's going to translate to first base. He might become a full-time DH. The one thing you can say about Tatsuya Imai is there's a level of, hey, can this kid pitch in the brightest when the lights are the brightest? There is some emotional immaturity that he's shown in Japan where he gets visibly annoyed if something doesn't go his way or if he feels frazzled on the mound. Do I want to pay that guy franchise level ace stuff when I don't know if he got the composure to be able to handle the responsibility of being an ace? Now, if he goes out there and shoves, all this is going to be irrelevant. But I do think that the Astros, Imai, and Scott Boras all work this deal beautifully. One, if it works out for Imai, what does he do? He opts out at the end of the contract. He goes back out on the market again next year, and he gets a handsome sum. Right. The second thing is that there's a $3 million bonus connected to each season. So if he throws 100 innings in 2026, he gets $3 million. So there are bonuses that are connected to these contracts that it's like, hey, I kind of get why they're doing this. And to be honest, it's nuts to think like this, but these players are looked at as bargain chips. But I also think these players' shortcomings, mostly on the field, because we don't know about anything about them off the field, mostly on the field, have drawn some concerns from teams that are looking to sign them.
Right.
And I really think that's partly why the Mets didn't go in on Imai. Because the last thing I want is another temperamental guy in my clubhouse, considering what we just dealt with for most of all of 2025.
With Kodai Senga, especially, right?
Right. Do I want to do that again when, you had factions of people not getting along and this one doesn't like this one and this one? Do I want to do that again?
See, I agree with you, Stefan, right? And I'd love to hear what somebody like Armand and other Mets fans have to say about this. We've heard, especially during the David Stearns era, right, that he doesn't necessarily want to commit, when it comes to years and even dollars, especially, right?
Yeah.
But after looking at what Imai signed with, and now that we understand what the Astros offered him, that kind of sounds like that's right up the Mets' alley right now,
I thought the same thing. I was on the phone with you. Remember what I said? I told you what his number was going to be?
Yeah.
I said 18 to 20. And what'd he get? 18 on the button. And you're like, yo, that's it? Like, what do you mean that's it? Because you got to understand, think about it like this. I'm going to say something that's a little bit crazy. But follow me.
First episode of the year.
You got to think about this as like supply and demand. It's like product, right? If you got good product, if you're good at what you do, you're going to get more people interested in your product. A lot of people don't seem to be enamored with the level of skill set, or in this case, product that these particular players are bringing to the table, right? So when you say a player has no market, that's why his numbers are the way that they are. Because there aren't 6, 7, 8 teams chasing after this particular free agent going, yo, you know what? You're the type of player I want to invest in because the world seems to want you, right? When Yamamoto was done bidding, who was left? Yankees, Dodgers, Mets. All over 300 million. Supply and demand. You came to me, we met, we broke bread. You knew where I stood. You knew what I wanted to do, and we got it done. The other thing that I find interesting, as I think it was King Cash that pointed this out, I wonder if the industry is expressing some level of skepticism and fear. There's a Japanese pitcher on the market, and the Dodgers are nowhere connected to this dude, despite what he says about not wanting to play for the Dodgers. And I'm not saying, I'm not reporting nothing. This is just me just spitballing with you. Does it raise a flag that the Dodgers were nowhere near the Imai sweepstakes, nowhere near the Murakami sweepstakes,
as we thought?
Does it make baseball as a whole stop and think and go, hold up, y'all not nowhere near this? Are these kids even that good? Because y'all the kings of the Japanese free agent.
That's a great point.
So if y'all don't want them, what the hell are we missing here?
That's a good point. I never really thought of it. Excuse me, like that. But now that I'm hearing it for the first time, It makes a lot of sense. I think a lot of teams are listen, I think coming into this offseason, you and I, right, were two
Mhm.
people who thought that it was signed, sealed, and delivered. Murakami was going to be wearing a LA
Uh,
Dodgers uniform in
I agree with
2026.
you, no doubt.
Didn't happen, right? But I also believe that with Major League Baseball already knowing for a couple of years now, listen,
Mhm.
whoever wants to come over here from there, we already know where they're going. And for them to not be interested,
Yeah.
I think I might have to agree with you. I think it did raise some red flags for teams.
There's another part to this. See, I just gave you that one piece because I wanted you to react to it. Let's have fun. You in my wheelhouse now. This is what we do over here. I wonder how much the CBA is impacting this, right? I wonder how much the CBA is impacting this. And I brought this up to you the other day when we were on the phone. I wonder if teams like the Yankees and the Mets and the Dodgers are going, yo, we've been up over the luxury tax for 3 straight years, bro. The Dodgers just paid 169 million in deferred payments. Do we want to keep going back and spending good money after bad? Because if it don't work out, we look crazy. Well, why does this matter, right? The Mets have built themselves one of the top 4 farm systems in the game. The Yankees use the international market to spend on free agents, pitchers, and players. They're very prominent in the international market. The other thing I'm going to point out really quickly, too, is the Yankees just fired their scouting director, their international scouting director. They're looking for another one.
How long was he in position for? Do you know? Or
But he was there for about 15 years,
wow, okay.
right? So I'm going to tell you right now, it feels to me as if the market right now is trying to decide, what do we value? Do we value the draft pick, or do we value 20 years? Or do we value um the players, right? Because if you go over the luxury tax for the 3rd year in a row, guess what? You pay $4 for every dollar you're over, right? That's one thing. The second thing is, what happens? Your draft assets get frozen and you can't spend in the international market. Why? Why is that important? It's important because you still want to have a presence in Latin America. If there's a young player that you want to sign, to be able to come up and say, yo, here's what we're trying to do.
Always, always, bro. Yeah.
I think those two factors are playing a bit of a they're playing a bit of a role here.
You know, I know you had referenced when we had spoke about it briefly, but now that we're getting more in depth with it with the chat here, and shout out to everybody who's here with us. Make sure you hit that like button if you're new here, especially.
Right.
But you also had emphasized, the reason why there are still a lot of free agents available, right? Kyle Tucker, no team. I saw somebody in the chat just mentioned Framber Valdez, no team. The list goes on.
Yeah.
So it makes a lot of sense when you consider like the financial side of things
Mhm.
as to why certain teams, I know we're talking about the Japanese market here tonight, but
Yeah,
just
for
in
sure.
general this offseason.
Yeah. And I've also said this too, right? Like, I think Imai's market is a clear indication that, one, free agent dollars aren't going to be spent at the level we all thought they were going to be spent, right? Christmas Eve, Jeff Passan had an interesting tweet where he talked about the correlation between the lack of spending as opposed to this year and last year. But remember, there was Juan Soto was on the market last year.
Yeah, it's
There,
kind of unfair.
there is no Juan Soto on the market this year,
Not even close to that. Yeah.
right? So, like, I wonder if there is a correlation between, we don't really like these players. We think these players are a bit overrated, but there's also a work stoppage that's about to happen. Now, we don't know how long the work stoppage is going to be, but do we want to tie up our financial assets when we don't know when we're going to start playing games next year? Like, I also think two can be related on top of what I mentioned to you a couple minutes ago. You see how complex this is, where it's not as simple as, yo, why isn't the market moving? I can understand it if, the big players were coming off the board. The three main starters that we all came into the offseason besides Dylan Cease, because I didn't have Dylan Cease as a top starter in this market.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought he was a little flawed, but he got paid. Good for him.
Yeah, over 200, right?
Framber Valdez still isn't signed. Ranger Suarez still isn't signed, right? Like, I still think there's a chance that either Tariq Schoolboy or Joe Ryan is traded by the time we get to spring training in a month and a half. That has not moved yet.
Yeah.
Right? Bo Bichette is nowhere near signing a contract. So it's like, what are we saying about how we view these players? And I'll ask you that. Where are you with everything I just laid out?
Where I'm at ultimately in terms of what a lot of these guys who are still free agents, as you mentioned, are looking for. I think we now live in a time where obviously you have your rare cases, as you mentioned, Stephen, Juan Soto, Shohei Ohtani, of course, Vladdy Jr. and what he signed with the Blue Jays last season. Those are very rare cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think with the current state of, what's available, right? Because everybody who wants, whether it be a starter, whether it be another bat, whether it be, relievers, not so much. A lot of them are off the board.
No, all of them are gone.
Yeah, but aside from that, there's still some good quality players out there. I think teams are now, the ones who are determining like what the market is. Like, especially if you're not, top of the crop. Yeah, you're not coming into this offseason telling us what to do. Hell no. And that's what we're seeing.
Like, what I also think blew up the market too? I'm not going to lie to you. Like, when you see a trade that went down, the trade that went down for Shane Baz, the Rays just killed the market. Because I don't know if there's a team in baseball outside of Tampa that makes that deal. The Rays just set the bar that if you trade a starting pitcher, this is what you need in return. Mm-hmm. I don't know if many teams are looking to do that, right? So now Eric Nylander, the general manager of the Rays, is a bit of a gambler. He likes to gamble. He likes to say, hey, I like to do things that are a little bit, different, outside the box. I like to be able to he also has 3 years of control. That's a great point by Armand. I'm going to show that here. We're going to get to the comments, guys. We see you. We appreciate it. But this is a big comment. Mm-hmm. I also think, right, like the prospect packages that are being asked for is outrageous.
Imagine what the Brewers are asking for Freddie Peralta.
For Peralta, right? Imagine if the Tigers put Schoolboy on the table, which they have. I think they're taking calls. I don't know how to the level of the calls, but I think they're taking calls because you'd be stupid not to.
Yeah.
Never trade with the Rays. I love that. By the way, Strike Blitz, are you sub, bro? You've been here before, right?
I know. I'm not sure. It might have been a while.
I think we've seen this name before. If you're sub, we appreciate you, man. It's just been a while.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. It's New Year's Eve and
we still in holiday mode, just like the rest of y'all.
Know what I mean? So
by the way, I didn't say this at the top of tonight's show, and Stefan, I didn't tell you yet. So for the past 2 to 3 days, I've been dealing with the sniffles. There's something going on.
I hear it.
There's something going on with the sinuses. So thankfully, my body feels right. There's no cough. I want to make sure things remain like that. Because you know how I get, bro. I don't even want to do the show. Nothing. So for those of you who think I sound funny tonight, I am sorry, but that's what's going on,
Damn, bro. Almost since day one. We appreciate you.
That's love, bro.
Oh, I got the flu.
Yo, what you got that flu? Hey, bro, that there's some new influenza going around. They giving it letters now. They saying it's really bad. People are out for 4, 5, 6 days.
Listen, shout out to Strike Blitz, man. Get better and appreciate feel better, man. And that stuff is no joke. He playing the sick card. I've been in pain all my life. But all right, we'll let you get that sick off, bro. No, in all seriousness, I think the market is kind of it's in a weird spot. Can we all agree? Like it feels like in a weird spot, man. And I don't know how to explain this, but I'm gonna try my best here. I'm gonna try my best to explain this in English. I'm not gonna do what they do on TV where they make it sound smarter than I am, because I'm not that smart. I'm smart, but I'm not that smart. I'll explain this in a way where we all can understand this as a family. The market has the flu.
I think so.
I think the frozen market is attributed to many factors, and I also think that these agents are overplaying their hands, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think these agents are overplaying what you're asking for when you're telling people, yo, we want to get, Cody Bellinger 8 years, and we want Alex Bregman's looking for a 6-year deal. In what world?
You know what's crazy, bro? I got to point this out quickly before I forget. It's funny you're mentioning agents, right? And we know Scott Boras represents Imai, who, of course, signed with the Astros.
Yes.
I saw his comments and what he said to the media in regards to who he thought like Imai could be and what he's done in Japan. Now, I'm not all that surprised, but when I read his exact words, when I saw the quote, this dude had the nerve to compare Imai to Yamamoto, bro. He said, "Oh, he's done everything that Yamamoto has done over there." Like, stop it. Don't do that. But at the end of the day, you gotta big up your guys, right?
Well,
So,
here's the thing. Scott's good at getting his guys paid.
mm-hmm.
That's what you expect to happen. He's good at getting his guys paid. And I'm not saying that that's not Scott's job. But the problem with Scott Boras at this current moment in time is that the agents and the teams now have as much information as the agents do.
Mm-hmm.
They could read through the BS and say, "Oh, you full of shit." Because we could read through your numbers, bro. We got scouts that are over there. We got analytical people over there. We know what it looks like when he's in front of us. It's not like you are the only one with the analytical positions now, because that'd be a misnomer to even think that that's possible, right? I think what's happening now is you've said this, and I'm going to give you credit for this. You've said this. You said, yo, these teams are now starting to smarten up, and they don't want to give these players more than they think these players are worth. Because this is what I never understood, and we're gonna get back to Imai, because I think that's a steal for the Astros, because I just think it would be them to do something smart like this.
Yeah, I got more on it too.
But you said, yo, it feels like the players are being like, yo, hold up. We now know the game. We know the game. If you're a player right now, are you sitting there with your agent going, yo, just take the short-term deal and let's just get paid? Forget about the 10, 12, or whatever, however long the deal used to be. Take the 5-year deal now. I'll take $40 million a year if it's there for me. Mm-hmm. Because guess what? These players are now coming up to the big leagues at a younger age. They're hitting free agency at a younger rate, right? Also, if they're impactful players, guess what? They're also getting traded faster too.
Right.
So I think there's a bit of a shift happening in terms of the players now have to reconfigure how they view free agency. There isn't this, 10, 12, 15-year deal unless your name is Aaron Judge, unless your name is Shohei Ohtani, unless your name is Juan Soto. Who else? That's it.
I remember the time when guys would hit 30 years old, and that was like the perfect time to give 10-year deals back in the days.
And look at how many of those age bad.
Oh, yeah, a lot of them. Most,
right.
Actually. Mm-hmm.
Miguel Cabrera age bad. Albert Pujols age bad. Mike Trout is aging bad. A-Rod age bad. It all ages bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is what I would do if I'm the players union. Forget a salary cap. Forget that. we want to hit free agency after the 4th year of our contract. Not 6, 4 years. We don't need the cap. We let y'all forget that. So you don't have to be stuck with us past the point of where you're comfortable. Can we negotiate something where we have term limits on these contracts, like they do in the NBA, like they do in a lot of sports, where you have 5-year deals and that's a max deal? If you get the super max deal, you can get 6 years, but 6 is all you get, and that's it. I wonder if the players now go back and say, you know what, bro? I do that. Because who ends up losing in the end? The players do. Because you thought, I was going to get an 8-year deal, 10-year deal, but. You need to be able to do something so that there is a level playing field. Because if the owners are going to act like the luxury tax is a de facto cap, you need to fight back and say, listen, we need term limits on these contracts. And I would kill the arbitration system immediately. That's dead. That's done.
It's funny you say that, because by getting rid of that, you now force teams to have to bring up guys sooner. We see this throughout the years, where I think the Yankees are notorious for doing this, right? They have guys down in AA, AAA for a little longer. I think a good example right now would be like a Spencer Jones, right? I think if Spencer Jones, for example, was in AAA for another organization, he probably would have gotten called up at some point last season.
Oh, no doubt.
But of course, with what you're saying right now, I could see how things like that would change drastically moving forward.
And it also goes back to service time manipulation too. That's the thing that I think is interesting. Is like there's service time manipulation attached to this, right? Where like, you have to be at a certain point, so we gain an extra year of control on you. So instead of 6 years, it's now 7 years. It's a dirty game that's being played.
I remember, was it last season or 2 seasons ago? Because I do want to bring up an example that I do remember. Wasn't there a dude in the Seattle Mariners minor league system? You know where I'm going with this? He had called the team out for something. He was like, my words might be off. I'll chat. If you guys remember this, remind us. But he basically had said, like, listen, I know I'm good. I've been good for however long now. I forgot the kid's name, but I recall reading something like that before.
Was the kid's name Evan White? Am I off base in saying that? Was he an infielder?
The name is not going to hit me for sure, but there was certainly a point where, it relates to what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Service time, keeping a guy down there longer than they should be, just so that when you finally call him up, you have him for the extra year or two, or however it works out,
It's just, and that's why I look at a guy like Imai, right? And I'm like, going back to Imai, I'm like, this feels like a win-win for both sides, because you paid the player, right? The player is not comfortable, but the player has options. If I pitch well, I'm out. Why don't we have the same thing for American free agents? American free agents should be afforded the same luxury that the Japanese players do. And if I'm a player, I'm looking at Imai's contract. If I'm a certain age and I'm going, if this is what he got, I want the same thing.
Especially with them not having the major league experience over here. Now, I know over there in Japan, that's what major league baseball is to them. But
it might have been Jared Kelenic. Was it Jared Kelenic in Seattle?
It could be.
It might be. It might be. Strike Blitz, you might be on to something, man. And so, look, I think there is a point where all this needs to be established. All this needs to be brought to the forefront. And for those people that say, it's boring, and this is all minutia, and who cares about all this? You see where we are now? This is why a sicko like me gets on the laptop and goes, let's read. Let's go through it. Let's see what's really going on here, because If you sit there and wait for news, you'll never get you'll never get real news. Right? You know why the Pirates are spending money? You know why certain teams are spending money? You know what happens if they don't? They forfeit their revenue sharing. Did you know that? You knew that, right?
Oh, being friends with you, of course. I've known that for years. I'm just saying, you didn't start talking about this in 2026.
What I'm saying is, can I ask the chat a question? Are people like us the only people that care? No, I'm being genuinely serious. Are people like us are the only people that care? And when I say that, I'm not trying to be condescending or I'm not trying to be mean in any way. But your job as a reporter on the foul territories, on these show, why nobody talks about this?
Right? And these are people who do it, every single day, right?
Right. So, like, why is it that you're doing a job that you're supposed to be covering the industry? You get paid handsomely to do so, and nobody sits there and talks about the manipulation of the market, right? I also think I'm going to use a word. I'm going to use a dirty word, Ivan. Be careful. I wish there was. I wish there was a way for you to, the little beep. There's a dirty word I'm about to say. Be careful, kids. Collusion. I also think there's a bit of collusion that is happening amongst these owners and amongst these agents. Y'all only sign the top of the top dudes because that's who gets me paid. It's dirty.
That's who gets me paid. That's who's going to bring in ratings. That's whose jerseys are going to sell the most,
All right, so hold on. He calls games for, I think, Fox, AJ Brzezinski. He does the Fox games.
Well, I do want to say this, though, in regards to what you just said, and also your comment there, Strike Blitz. I don't think it's not the fact that these guys who work, as you mentioned, for the foul territory or for the network,
right?
They know what is happening. Yeah. Right. But as you mentioned, they won't have a conversation how we would right now,
which is sad.
The issue is if they, because of who they are and how long they've been involved with the game, in a way, I don't think Major League Baseball would be too happy about that. Because, you're throwing shots at these teams, but who is it at the end of the day that makes the rules to allow the teams to be able to manipulate service time and things along those lines? It's the sport.
But that's why I think Rob Manfred's a bit of he's slick though, right? Because what he does is he says, "Yo, jump on my player council." CeCe's on his player council. I think Adam Jones is on the player council. Got a bunch of players, former players on his player council he put together. Remember, they were the ones that were going around to the clubhouses when Bryce Harper unanimously said, "Get the fuck out my clubhouse, Rob Manfred."
Yeah.
I think what's happening is Tatsuya Imai is he's a byproduct of where the game is. I think if Tatsuya Imai was 24 years old, he gets more teams involved.
Yeah, you think he would have gotten maybe like about 100 million or so?
Yes, bro, because what happens is that's 3 years difference. Right? It's less mileage on the arm. And guess what? Now we could get a better read for how are you developing as a pitcher. By 27, 28, there's not much you could change. Your stuff is your stuff. Your body is your body. Yes, you're in your prime years, but it's not going to change much, right? Now, Houston may play with his pitch shapes and get him to throw a pitch differently and different change up or different grips and things like that. But your frame is your frame and your body is your body. When you're 23, when you're 24, you're still kind of growing into, what type of pitcher, what type of body frame am I going to have, right? So you're still developing. I think if you're Yamamoto's age, because Yamamoto was 25, I think people look at you and go, hold up, we could do something with this brother because he's not close to 30. Those 2 years may not mean nothing in the grand scheme, but they mean a hell of a lot to these people that are signing these contracts.
Right.
They mean a hell of a lot, right? If let's just use Juan Soto as the example. If Juan Soto was 30, you think he's getting 15 years? Hell no.
No, hell no, absolutely not.
Right. So he got 15 years because he was 26 going into age 27, right? How many free agents hit the market at that age with that level of skill set? That is where he's already polished enough to be great.
Yeah. You know, it's funny you use that example. I saw this post on social media the other day, and they were comparing Juan Soto's first 8 seasons to some other greats. Like they compared him to Miggy Cabrera. They compared him to, I think it was Adrian Beltre, and so many other guys who turned out to be Hall of Famers when it was all said and done. And he is literally either already ahead some of these guys, or for the most part, right on par with where they were at. That's crazy, and he's got a long way to go. But talk about projection and what he's gonna be when that 15-year deal is up. That's gonna be one of the game's best.
And that's where I think Vlad too is a good point. If Vlad wasn't his age and his body type was his body type, you think he gets paid? Hell no. He might have gotten the Pete Alonso treatment where you settle for a 5-year deal and somebody says, we'll just pay you a little bit over what you're worth. It's a tough business. And this is what I tell people all the time. Imai now has to prove himself again. Not only did I have to prove myself to make it to the big leagues, but I got to prove myself again for a second time to be able to get the bigger bag, secure the better financial future. Now, if I'm him, Ivan, only because I thought like this, I say, yo, if you're him, you know what? You want to stay in Texas. You know why? No state tax. You get all that bread. You get all that bread. The moment I say he signed with the Astros, I said, hold up. That makes sense. Because in a time where there's so much financial uncertainty, where I want to go, I could get that opportunity and I could get all that bread. I'm going straight to Texas.
One other thing that I did want to say that relates to Imai specifically, because this was his former teammate, and also the Japanese market, as we're talking about all of this stuff here tonight. So his teammate, apparently, who they play for the same team over there in Japan, his last name is Takahashi, Kona Takahashi.
Yes.
So I was doing some reading, and if the market was already bad, and all of us knowing this information, right? We saw where Murakami went, Imai, of course.
Yeah.
If the two top dogs had to end up settling for far less, again, but they could prove themselves and end up getting way more than what they just signed for a couple of years from now. But if those two guys ended up where they're at right now, no shade to those teams, then what does that say for some of these other guys, right? Or even Okamoto, the infielder. Are they going back to Japan? They just might have to, no lie, bro. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe both of them do just say, screw it, I'll sign with whoever. But what if these guys, there's a legitimate chance that both of these guys who are still trying to come from Japan to over here, that are still available, of course, what if they only have like one deal on the table, 2 deals? Straight up.
That's a tough business. And here's the thing. If they don't get signed, you can't get reposted again until 2028. So I think a lot of them is like, yo, whatever deal's on the table, if it's good enough, we'll take it.
And those 2 years are a little risky because you have to now go back and replicate what you've been doing for whatever it was that you were doing before you announced that you want to come play Major League Baseball.
I would say you can't replicate it. You got to be better.
Yeah.
You got to be better because there's 2 years of age tacked on to you now. Right? How old is Yakamoto? Can we get an age on that?
Yo, come on. He is 29 years old.
He's 29 now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you gotta wait till you're 31 to become reposted, well, I don't know what type of player you're gonna be in 2 years.
I know, right?
I don't know if your offense is gonna take a dip. I don't know if your defense is gonna be as good as it is now.
You might be lucky if you even get a multi-year deal at that point, right?
This is interesting. This is interesting. This is interesting by Strike Blitz. But they may be full free agents by the time those 2 years instead of, oh, that's interesting. Okay.
True, true. So they don't have to
Okay.
go through the whole like being posted and all that.
That's that. See, that's an interesting caveat because if he's just a free agent that could sign here just off the strength, he might have a better shot that way.
And also teams might be willing to commit a little more to the player, right? Because
Yes.
now I don't have to pay the team that
fee.
you just, yeah, exactly.
So, like, I also think you know what's stopping a guy like Framber Valdez, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, does Ranger Suarez also have a qualifying offer attached? I think Framber Valdez does, and I think Ranger does. If they both do, then that explains why their market isn't great.
Yeah.
Because the qualifying offer acts like what you said, it's a deterrent. Now I got to give up a pick. If whoever signs you got to give up a pick.
Yeah.
Right? Who cares? It's just a draft pick. All right, when you ain't got a pick in the 4th round of the draft and you looking at a player you want, but you gave the pick to player, you know what I mean?
And also too,
That's nasty.
If you're a team that doesn't really know how to draft well,
that's nasty.
Because I believe Armand, you might know about this, right? Wasn't the Dodgers had to give up a pick to sign Edwin Diaz, right? Wasn't there something attached to him?
There was a qualifying offer attached, yeah.
Yeah, but then again, we're talking about the Dodgers who not only spend, but they know how to create a damn farm system too, you know?
So I think there is all this plays a part, right? Now the posting fee is not like a qualifying offer where you lose a pick, but you got to pay that team a fee just to get the player signed to come to play in America.
Mm-hmm.
That's damn near like qualifying offer. The only thing is it's just cash.
Yeah, it's like two separate payments for one player.
That's insane, bro. And the thing that we don't know is what money's allocated for what, right? How much money do these teams have set aside for a posting fee? You know what I mean? Like a posting fee, how much do you have set aside for that?
I think that's also, to go back to something that we talked about earlier tonight, I think that's another reason, in addition to what we've already talked about, because there's been a few things now, but I think that's another reason why a lot of teams are kind of iffy, because as you mentioned, you know, we're looking at the Dodgers not really being involved with this market, Japanese market. So it's kind of like, all right, so if they're not involved, why should I have to pay
this team? That's a good point. Yeah.
For a guy that isn't really all that, you know, I think a lot of teams they double down these days, right? They double down.
Also, too, I think what also happens too is Armand with an interesting point. If a team sounds that gallant, they lose their 1st round pick due to the qualifying offer. That's tough. That's tough. Like, I didn't want to think like this, but the more and more I sit here, I'm like, yo, Cody Bellinger's not getting signed till closer to spring training. Bo Bichette's not getting signed till closer to spring training. Because you have to force these teams to move.
Yo, that would be crazy. Imagine us here covering the World Baseball Classic. And by the way, chat, make sure you guys are here for the rest of the year, of course. But March is going to be fun, especially for wherever it is that you guys are from, right? Depending on who you're rooting for.
Yeah.
So could you imagine us, you know, doing our work here on the channel with the chat, WBC, and we still have free agency to cover? Yo, that would be wild, bro.
Listen, it would be wild, but it's not out of the realm. Mm-hmm. Because the thing I'll say too is I also think that
it's gonna happen before.
Yeah, I also think like, so the Yankees officially submitted a formal offer to Cody Bellinger for whatever that's worth today. Happy New Year. Here's an offer, buddy. John Heyman. Sometimes I'm like, yo. Sometimes I think you just right shit the right shit. Because we know what he's looking for. Somebody submits a formal offer. Why is that news? Go take a nap, please. Because what good is a formal offer at this stage? Take a nap, please. Seriously, take a nap. Don't want to hear it. Don't care to hear it. Don't think it's interesting enough. They submitted a formal offer. So, is he close to signing anywhere? Oh, well, he's not close. There's still a gap in talks. So, what good is a formal offer? A formal offer is like I'm gonna go to dinner and I'm only gonna have the hors d'oeuvres because I don't know when the entree's coming out yet.
You know what it is? And he might not like to hear this, but who cares? But it's Scott Boris, controlling him from up above. Is one of his
Oh
puppets.
yeah,
How he's like,
you know what I mean?
where Scott Boris says dance, or in this case talk. That's what he's doing.
I thought I saw Scott pull his hand out of Heyman's back when the camera went off. And it's these are the things. These are the things that make fans shy away from the game. Because why is it so much red tape? Why is it that you always ask me this all the time, bro? Shouldn't we know what teams are involved to the very end? And what's my answer to you? Most times we don't. Most times you're flying blind to who really did what, right? Like you have no idea. Like you may get a scoop from somebody, or somebody may hear something like, yo, I heard this team is doing this with this, but that could be to divert somebody else from doing something.
Right.
Right? So who knows? Like, the Yankees are what's the word I heard today? The Yankees are they're entertaining the idea of Bo Bichette.
I read about that. Yeah.
Bro. If you're entertaining the idea, that means you would have had him up to Yankee Stadium. You would have talked to him over Zoom. You would have talked to Scott. You'd have had conversations. You could have done everything. Sometimes I think these teams just be, but let's say we're interested in the player because, we want to get stop, bro. Like, and then, it came out today. All the Yankees fielding calls on Jazz Chisholm. And I'm like, I've been here for a month.
Yeah.
I've been here since the season ended. Where the hell y'all been? Where y'all been? Ivan, if you want to help me, if they think I'm lying.
You're absolutely right. Because I remember the first time I had heard you say that it was a phone call that we were having, and I forgot what the conversation was me actually asking you, and I think we've talked about it here on the show before. And it was regards to, what Jazz Chisholm could possibly cost after his final year now in 2026 with the Yankees. And it's funny how here we are in the offseason, brand new year, of course, now, right? And there's this chatter about the Yankees actually listening to offers.
Tapping in, bro. I see you.
What up, Chad?
That's another thing, too. That's an interesting point. But I wanna attack this. Can I attack this? What's up, bro? How are you? Happy New Year, man. To everybody in the six right now. He's from Toronto, actually.
Yeah.
To me, it's not stupid at all. I'm looking to get off of Jazz Chisholm. I just am. I can't take the mental incompetence from him sometimes.
You know what's the other thing with Jazz too? Because we've talked about that too, man. And listen, I hate to get into people's personal lives. I'm in no way trying to do this right now. But Jazz, he been on the internet a lot lately. Him and his girlfriend, I don't know if they recently got engaged.
They got engaged, yeah.
He's dealing with a chick that she was on that show Baddies on Zeus Network. I don't know if too many of you guys know about that show,
God.
but if you don't, long story short, it's basically a show where they put girls inside of a house for X amount of time,
Oh God, we've reached that
and
point in
they
the
just simply
proceedings.
beat the hell out of each other, right? But
Oh,
anyway, I say that in addition to what Stefan was just talking about in regards to Jazz and what he already comes with as a player, and
yeah,
him not always
it's
being there
nasty.
mentally, especially in big moments. And then
It's
now,
nasty.
listen, I'm not trying to talk down on that relationship, but if that turns ugly, that could be really bad, because there was already some stuff with him being on Twitter defending
Right.
her, talking about, yo, my girl never had OnlyFans. It's a whole bunch of mess, bro. It's a damn mess what he got going on right now. But we'll revisit that. We're gonna revisit that, I'm sure.
Right. So with all that coming out, it is public knowledge. You don't think the Yankees had an inkling this was all going down before he even? They knew. This is why I've been telling you for months. Yo, not getting paid. Look at the dudes that are on the market that we know to be good dudes. Alex Bregman can't get a job, and all that motherfucker does is win.
Right.
He can't sniff a job. Right? Uh Ranger Suarez, all this motherfucker does is shove in the playoffs. He can't sniff a job right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you asking me if the Yankees are going to extend Jazz Chisholm? Are we living on the same planet? Do we speak the same English, or am I speaking Martian?
Oh, I understand your language now, bro. Because when we first had the conversation, I was big on Jazz. I was actually bigging him up. I was like, yo, he's been a hell of a player. He's important when it comes to what he brings to the Yankees offense. But now, when I look at Jazz Chisholm overall, right, in totality, excuse me.
That took a
Yeah,
minute.
I say that because I don't think he's a guy who I want to commit 150, 175,
Yeah.
whatever it is that it's going to cost
Yeah.
to have him play second base for your team,
I want to correct this point, Armand. Peraza is not in the organization no more. He was traded last year to the Angels, so he's not here anymore. Listen, Astros did their thing with this Imai thing. I want to see what they do at the backup catcher spot. Spencer Aaron Getty, Brown, Imai, that rotation is looking all right.
Christian Javier is there too.
It's looking all right. If everything comes into form, it's looking all right. The question is, defensively, they're still really bad. You got to do something at the back catcher spot. I don't like Isak Paredes at third. I kind of hate that. Where is Altuve playing next year? Because Lord knows I don't want to see him in left field no more.
Remember a year ago, you were here screaming. I don't know if any of you guys remember. Stefan went on this crazy rant talking about like, yo, what the hell is he doing at his age, playing left field for you guys? Get him out of there.
Yo, did he not look terrible?
It was bad. And it also it looked very weird too,
Yeah.
And how do you just do something like that to one of your franchise's greatest players?
It's nasty, bro. And then the thing is, like, you respect him for wanting to do it because he's a team player, he's a winner. All those things are true, but you're putting the player in such a bad light. I would do something remarkably crazy right now if I'm the Houston Astros.
What is that?
I would think about consider trading Yordan Alvarez today.
Okay.
Today, I would do it today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next year. Right now, because Yordan Alvarez to me is stopping me from being flexible. He's a great player, can't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
You know who else is like that too on the Astros? Lance McCullers. Lance McCullers.
Yes.
I mean, he's been with the team before. He's won with them.
Yes.
He's had a couple of big moments for the team as well. But I don't know if a lot of you guys remember Lance McCullers. He just came back in 2025 after not pitching for 2 years.
And then got hurt
a long time.
And I think got hurt again right after he came back.
And, yeah, he didn't pitch the entirety of 2025. So, yeah.
Oh, I just got an interesting text message. You know who the last finalist was for Tatsuya Imai?
They better not be lying about it.
No, I got it confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
The Atlanta Braves.
Ooh.
Weren't we the channel that said, yo, Imai in Atlanta might not be bad.
Mm-hmm.
Atlanta's gonna do something. By the time they get to Kissimmee, is where they train for spring training, Walt Disney World Resort, they're gonna do something. Alex Anthopoulos is going to acquire a pitcher somewhere. Framber Ranger, you take your pick. Somebody's pitching in Atlanta next year. Don't know why I feel that way, just feel that way. Braves are lurking way too much for it to be this like Alex. Usually when he's this quiet, something's coming. He got a nuke for us somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I don't know why I feel this, but I'm like, yeah, there's something about the Braves that just doesn't seem. They don't seem like they're done. Like they're like you don't do the Suarez thing. You don't do what they did. Like they're doing something.
I think in addition to the Braves getting one of these arms that are still available,
Yeah,
I think some of these guys who we think might be going to one place might not end up there after all, right?
yeah. Mhm.
Not to really, make a comparison to the Japanese market. But I think we're seeing it with, guys like Cody Bellinger and
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker. Like for the calendar to flip to a brand new year and for those guys to still be available, that's not normal.
It wasn't normal in past years, no, but this is baseball's new normal.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm gonna say it. We've been here before, me and you, right? Trade deadline season, boys and girls. Trade deadline season needs to start when we leave the winter meetings, and it needs to stop a week before spring training starts. These free agents need to be signed. The free agent market needs to flourish. It needs to have its moment. And you can't have drips and drabs. You can't have drips and drabs of signings and then dead silence for 3 weeks and then a signing and then dead silence for another month and then a signing. I'm being hyperbolic, but you get the point.
Yeah, of course.
The trade market has done more damage to free agency than these players, owners, or agents ever could. Because if I could get it on a cheaper via trade, well, all it's going to cost me is prospects, and we don't know who half these prospects are or what they're going to be. The trade is the avenue that I go down.
Right.
Because what I would do, and I would do this like the NBA, I would put a moratorium on trade deadline. Yo, from this time to this time is frozen. Can't do nothing. You can't do nothing. And whatever player you sign to a contract, right? Whatever player you sign to a contract, you have to keep that player under contract for a year before you trade him if the contract is longer than 3 years. Because the trade market has become so easy to just, let's just go attack the trade market, right? But I also think the trade market is bad too because now teams know you need something, right? Now, if you're exploring the trade market rather than signing free agents, one, you're either in financial peril where you got to get off some money to take something back. Two, right? Two, it's either you hate all these free agents in this market. And there's a reason why we're looking at a Bo Bichette to play second base. Bo Bichette's not a good shortstop. Hasn't been for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Bellinger's a great outfielder. Do you think you're going to get the same offensive profile if he's outside of Yankee Stadium? Don't know.
I hear some people question that. Yeah.
Right. So with all this extenuating factors that are now playing a part, can we now understand why the market's moving as slow as it is? I've said this too.
What's that?
I've said this.
Oh, they should. By now, they should. They should.
Wasn't I yelling this? Wasn't I yelling this last year?
Mm-hmm.
I was yelling this very thing last year.
Right. But don't you think that they should also include international draft picks as well? Or no,
Of course.
everything, right?
Of
Yeah.
course.
Can
Yeah,
you
don't
imagine that? Imagine a team putting like a 16-year-old kid, like, yo, I just signed this 60-year-old phenom in
which
DR.
is
You can have him.
yo, you know what? But that'll force things to get done now.
Right.
Because now everything's on the table. Look, Shrek would have interesting. The winter meetings weren't initially designed for that.
Really?
While I don't disagree with you, TD, completely, I do have some pushback. Happy New Year, brother. We see your comments. We're gonna get to all of them. I promise.
Welcome.
You have to evolve. There has to be an evolution that takes place. You know what baseball's problem is? Baseball's the last sport to evolve. Everybody else done did it. Everybody else done they done did it already, right? Here's where I think the winter meetings you could bring the action back now. Because if you put the trade deadline at the winter meetings, now there has to be a level of urgency. Yo, let me walk up to this one suite and get this deal done because we only got 2 days. And I know we've been talking to this team for about 2 weeks. We got to get to it. Know what I mean? We just came off a Thanksgiving break. We got to get to it, right? The problem is if you're going to allow shows like ours to exist in the medium in which it does, the game in which you so-called claim to want to grow and build and love has to follow in the same blueprint as the people who are covering your game. You're muted.
All right, my mistake there. My nose is bothering me. I'm gonna say it again. They should be watching us just like the chat is right now. I'm just saying.
And again, TD says you got to change free agency. Yes, you do. But there has to be some level of change is not going to happen overnight. And we totally understand that. We get how this works. It's a slow moving ball, right? The ball is slow moving. The hill is very vast and people just don't like moving because it's uncomfortable. Understood. Get it. 1,010%. Understand it. But to fans like you guys in the chat and for me and Ivan who are covering the game, who love the game, who are fans like you, how do you expect your game, forget about us, but how do you expect your game to grow if you continue to do things like it's 1975? Doesn't work anymore, right? If you're going to have a draft lottery, right? Shout out to the White Sox for winning that too. Boy, did they have a good couple weeks in Chicago. Bears in the playoffs. White Sox got Murakami. They won the draft lottery. They winning in Chicago.
White Sox might be good in a few years.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? So, speaking of the White Sox, for those that weren't here earlier, Michael Jordan's minor league jersey on my back right now.
Was that a Christmas gift?
Yes.
That's fire, bro. I think they made a pair of ones out of those, the Baron ones. You ever seen them?
Yeah, I'm looking for them right now.
They got like a gray, blackish kind of like touch to it.
I'm looking for them right now. It's funny you said that. This is interesting. Why don't we do this
before the new year?
Yes. Yo, you know how much action you would get from the time Christmas ends to the time the new year starts? The traction would be insane. But you know what they'll tell you? The agents will tell you, but they're not getting fair market value and you're rushing their process. And my boy, you know how crazy you sound to somebody working a 9 to 5 making $70,000 a year when you're about to make multi-millions of dollars? They're looking at you like, yo, you sound insane.
Right.
Crazy. I don't understand this. And I think the thing that really bothers me is
one thing I do want to say is, and I think we could all agree with this, right? I think Major League Baseball as a sport overall, they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball this offseason. And partial, some of this I would say is the team's fault as well. But again, teams are, refraining from giving X these players X amount of years, X amount of
Mm-hmm.
dollars, which is now causing it to January, February, who knows, even come
Yes.
March, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, but could you imagine if there was something like that? I don't think the Tigers would be out here saying, "Yo, we keeping Scooble."
Yeah.
I don't think the
Mhm. Yeah.
Brewers would have been like, "Nah, I think we're gonna keep Freddie." I think all of them would have had to do what I think ultimately they want to do at the end of the day, because I think when it's all said and done, whether they do it now this off season or at some point during the regular season, these
Mm-hmm.
guys are out. I mean, you could book it right now.
See, but this is why, right? Like, this is why a person like me who sits there and says, "Yo, how many times I call you a week and like, yo, I want to run something by you," and it's crazy. And you're like, "Yo, bro, I never even thought about that till you said something." There has to be a level of urgency. That's the proper word. Not only for yourself, but your fan base and the people who follow you. You know what baseball really dropped the ball? And I'm going to go to a place that I don't think people are ready for. After the ratings you had in the World Series, the last two World Series were phenomenal. Phenomenal. The ratings for these playoffs were phenomenal. It's insane. For you to sit there and have a winter as cold as the temperature outside, you are doing your fans and your game a disservice after the playoffs you just had. Just for the simple fact that you come off this action packed playoffs, you come off this action packed idea, right? You come off the idea, yo, the World Series is crazy. Look at all the numbers, look at the ratings, look at all the stuff that we've done, right? And it's like, this is how you want it to end. And then on top of that, you're talking about a work stoppage where we don't know how the next season is going to go. Like, baseball continuously shoots itself in the foot.
Mhm.
Like, it gets it wrong to the point where you no longer want to be associated with this game sometimes, right? And then the voices that you have associated with the game is another issue, because you let the same old voices in who have the same old opinions, the same old rhetoric with the same old ideas. How about we do it where, let us break some news out here? All these teams, you got my number. You know who I'm talking to. Call us. We'll break some news for you in a heartbeat.
Or come sit down with us and break it on the show, right?
Big boy move. You got my numbers. Y'all can call me. Waiting for these old heads to break the news for. John Heyman's in bed by 8:30.
Oh boy.
You want to get it cracking? You want to get it percolating on a New Year's Eve? Hit me with a bomb right now. You see how fast this chat will go crazy. But you want to sit here and play games.
Yo, could you, now that you said that, now I don't think we've gotten to this point yet, but I think with the internet, especially with content creators such as ourselves, especially when it comes to the game of baseball, right? Unfortunately, when it comes to some of these other sports, while we all love it, which is why Stefan and I do the show, which is why you guys are here chatting with us as you always do. It's just a sport that, it doesn't get the love that it deserves. But could you imagine if, who knows, 3 years, 5, 7 years from now, teams start reaching out to content creators, bro, and they're like, yo, we saw you going live at 9:30 as we typically do, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I want you to open your show with this. Say you got it from here. Like,
You
that would
know?
be crazy, bro.
And here's the thing. Yes, I did, Chad. Yes. Yes. As it refers to this comment, yes. I did flash it. Yes. Yeah, I did. Uh it's it's one of those things where it's I just feel like people they don't they is it fair to say like it feels like people don't care about the game, right? The old heads don't care because their medium is dying. Manfred's retiring in 2029. Does he care about where it ends when he leaves? Think about that. I know I'm asking deep existential questions and
I think how we come out of uh 2026, I think we'll see a clearer answer to what you just said.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
it's one of those things that you know we all sit here and talk about we love the game, we love baseball, we love all that, right? Like you guys know, as soon as there's news, we're one of the first channels on wherever you get your news to be like, yo, this just went down. We going live tonight. We'll see y'all then. Like we don't play games. It's out, it's up, it's early. We don't play, right? So why don't one of you guys just do your jobs and get to it? Because here's the sad part. The people like Ivan's son who are gonna grow up and get older, and my nephews and all those types of things, the interest is going to wane, right? You got us. We junkies. We ain't going nowhere. The game is too good to us.
Since young.
Right. Like, we love it. But what do you tell them? What do you tell the dudes that are, coming up 15, 16, 17 years old? What do you tell them? Oh, this is how it is and this is how it always be. Is that a good explanation when all these kids got TikTok and all these different mediums to find something to do?
It's funny we're talking about this right now, because I didn't tell you this yet, Stefan, but earlier today, and I think the chat is gonna find this story interesting. So I ran into an older man. He's in his 80s. I think he said he was like 82 years old, something like that. He said he's a Yankee fan. I had on a Yankee cap earlier today, different fit, of course, before I did the show. So I bump into him
Mhm.
and he looks at the Yankee cap. He's like, "Oh, New York." So I went up to him. I'm like, "Oh, you a Yankee fan?" He's like, "Yes, I am. I've been a fan since the 50s, bro." Yo, I started talking to this dude for like 5-7 minutes. He started talking to me about Joe DiMaggio.
Mm.
And he was really schooling me. But obviously, the names that he was throwing at me, I'm familiar with because
Yeah.
we do more stuff. You know how we are. We do more than just what's on the surface, especially when it comes to baseball, right?
Oh yeah.
But it
Yeah.
was just amazing to really listen to him. And could you believe that he told me that he no longer watches because one, the game is too long, and he prefers to watch highlights because it cuts out all the commercials, all the BS. And this is an older man, folks, 80 something years old,
That's a good point.
talking about he's been a Yankee fan since the 50s.
That's crazy. That's
And
a good point.
even he is not big on the product today.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You said he was 80 years old?
Yeah, I think he told me 82 to be exact. I told him about like the
Wow.
show and whatnot, but this might be a little too,
It's not a
advanced for him.
yeah, yeah,
Not a knock on him
for
because
sure.
the conversation was amazing.
Of course. No, yeah.
But
It see, and that's an even bigger indictment on where we are as an industry and where we are as a game is when you got the 80-year-olds going, nah, for him, I can't sit through a game. I can't do that. Like, that's a problem for me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So if he's saying that, imagine the people that, are over younger age.
because that's what they already love, right? Like the younger demographic, they
Right.
love
Yeah.
the 15, 30, 45-second, 1 minute clips.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, believe it or not, chat, we love you guys for always showing up. TD, Shrek, Chad, Armand, Strike Blitz. The list goes on. There's so many of you guys,
Appreciate y'all.
but we get most of our love from the clips, and we understand people prefer the shorter version of what we do here with the show with you guys. But for an older guy to say that, a guy who has seen it all, I'm sure, right?
Yeah,
Especially
sure.
when it comes to the game of baseball, it's not a good look. And we also have older folks who watch the show. We had a gentleman, I think, like a week or two ago.
He was
He
in the
said, "Yo, I'm in
70s.
my 70s and I
Yeah.
watch y'all."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And look, I look, we appreciate the viewership on the show. Like, I'm cool. I'm totally cool with, like, yo, come converse with us. We want everybody to come in here and converse and have a good time and speak their mind. And like, it's hard when the fan bases no longer have a voice to what happens in the game, right? To where it's just strictly about the business. And when I say it's a business, I don't mean to use that in a negative or pejorative way. In fact, I'm using it more so in a sad reality sort of way. Like, yo, this is the reality now. I remember I remember when the offseason in baseball used to be something, oh crap, this guy's a free agent. Oh my god, this guy, like, it's tough, man. It's tough. So we appreciate you guys for rocking, man. We'll be back fairly soon, but we got to get this man's nose cleared because it's running off his face.
We could spend like 3 minutes real quick just reading
I mean,
comments. We haven't spoken to the people in, like I said, a week and a half.
nah, man. So let's get you got one or two, man. So
Let me see. I see TD. He's here talking about his Latinas. We know he loves that. TD, we see you, brother.
I think this comment's interesting. Granted, people have no patience anymore as well too. Internet has changed sports. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. I think a lot of people, and I've been hearing this for a few years now. I think the attention spans, were or are, excuse me, are not what they once were. Like 3 hours telling me I gotta sit down and enjoy this game for 3 hours. The hell is that? That
Mhm.
doesn't fit with today's standards when as you mentioned, with the internet and
Yeah,
social media and all that
for
stuff.
sure. Yeah,
I'm
it's
trying
it.
to watch it and get it over and done with. I want a quickie. Yo, oh man.
And with that, we out. Oh man. Let's read some of the stuff answering your own questions, bro. Scott Bora, analytics, owners running. Yeah. Yeah. Nah.
He's out here giving down breakdowns of his show. Yo, TD, you got to start doing that, bro. You never know if we get somebody who is not familiar with you and they might report your ass, bro.
Nah, yeah, you gotta be careful, man. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yo, you good with us, but just saying, you never know.
Say that in front of the wrong person out here. You never
Yeah, we
know.
might we might get one of those older dudes again or some like, oh, I'm here for baseball. What is he talking about?
Nah,
Block
me.
report.
Gotta explain the inside jokes, man. Not everybody's up on the inside jokes. Yo, Chad, safe flight to Jamaica, man. You know, safe flight. Blessings to you, man. Blessings to you and yours. That's
A word. Enjoy that, Chad. I've gone once. I think I went in 2021. I think it was like holiday season around there, Christmas time, 4 years ago. It
yep.
was fun though. I definitely would love to go back. I haven't gone back since, but it's up there again at some point in the future.
All right, bro. Easy. Easy. Easy.
Oh, he's talking about that two phone business.
Easy.
You ever
Easy.
heard that song? I got two phones, one for the plug and one for the. I forgot the name of that song, but you know what I'm talking about. That's how the chorus goes. That's the jingle.
Easy. I don't want no problems, man. Do we?
Oh man, yo, chat. Before we go, and Stefan as well. I did, enjoy the hell out of tonight's show.
Oh
I missed you
man.
guys, Stefan. I missed, even
Oh,
though I'm acting like it's been like 4 weeks or something like that. But listen, we sometimes do 2 to 3 shows a week. So when you go from that to
Being
having like
dead
10 days
silent.
off,
That's
it
crazy,
feels a
bro.
little weird.
Yeah.
So I missed all of you. Glad that a lot of you guys are still rocking with us at this time.
Mm-hmm.
The very first day of the new year, 2026.
All right. I'm gonna ask a question, and I don't want answers right now. This is gonna be a cliffhanger. What happens first? What happens first? Armand appears on the show, or Cody Bellinger and one of these big free agents signs on a contract.
Damn, bro. That's a great question.
So
Armand, what's your answer, bro? Leave it in the chat. I'm gonna throw a curveball here. I think we might be able to get Armand here before we might. Like TD's saying Armand. Armand is saying himself too. Yo, I think
oh,
we might get you on here, bro.
yo, if Armand appears before a big free agent signs, yo, you're the winner of the offseason, my boy. That's crazy. Hey, enough, man.
No,
Enough.
but we gotta see whether it's in January or February, because by the time March comes, you kind of want to have that stuff out the way, But Armand, you deserved it. I always give you a lot of credit. I've said this before. Like, this is one name that it just doesn't disappear, and I don't say that in
No,
a bad way,
he's here.
right?
Yeah, he's
Like,
here.
you
Yeah.
be here,
For real.
TD. I ain't trying to take any credit away from you. You be here as well.
Yeah.
Shrek, the very first comment he left, it was like Shrek's still living in 2025, making his jokes and all that.
He said when you were talking about the 80-year-old man, he was like, "Damn, that's Jamie Moyer level." I'm like, "Yo, I'm trying not to laugh because you
Yo, remember
talking."
Jamie Moyer? How old? He played until he was what, like 45-ish or something like that? I think he pitched until like his mid 50s.
Yes.
No, mid 40s, excuse me.
I'm not going to incriminate myself. I am not going to incriminate myself. I appreciate the question, but I will plead the fifth. No, thank you. Damn.
Yo, Armand, why you don't say that about yourself? Come on, bro.
Listen, you was just at a party with some, yeah, I mean, like 2 shows ago, my boy.
Right? And listen, for you to view yourself like that, bro, you be out and about a lot, man.
Hell yeah. You be at the AEW event, you out here shaking ass in the year. Don't do that.
Yo, that is funny.
Oh man.
Yo, you know what's one thing that really makes me feel good, Stefan? And I don't know if you thought about this, but I do want to share with the chat. Like this comment right here, for example, from TD. Like we're starting to create something here, right? Like outside of obviously Stefan and I and a couple of people who we might have gone to college with, Chad, Rick, Emilio, other people as well. We don't know each other, bro. And we talk to each other like we done been watching baseball together for like a decade, all of us,
bro.
Look at TD talking about like, yo, we love you. Armand is a guy who hasn't been here as long as TD has, but
shows
it's a
mad
family
love.
here. You always say that stuff,
Of course, man. Why you think the slogan is baseball for us by us? I mean, I'm part of the family, baby. You know what I mean? So it's like seeing a long lost cousin. You know what I'm saying? Like I knew I was gonna run into Armand. I was gonna run into TD. It's like running into long lost cousins. That you ain't seen in a few weeks.
These are the day ones right here, bro.
Of course, bro.
I know we have big expectations for ourselves, with the new year now starting. We've talked about it several times. But these right here are the guys where we're gonna look up, 6 to 8 months from now. We might have like 30, 40, 50 people in here. But without you guys being here from 2024, which is when we first kind of started to bring the show to the internet, now with 2025 being over and done with, us putting in the work matters just as much as you guys showing up.
I'm in here to
Keep that in mind, guys. Like, we're not trying to give you guys positions out here, right? Nobody's asking for a side hustle, but I want you guys to know that you showing up, and even if it's not every time, right? Because a lot of you guys go away. Listen, we all got lives. We all go through things. But some of y'all come back 2-3 months, and we like, damn.
Damn, it's been a minute since we seen
Like
you,
you,
dog.
you went around the world. You went to like 3 different countries,
Yeah,
and the first thing you did was get home, and you tapped in with us.
that's a beautiful thing.
I might shed a tear. I might.
No, yeah, no, that's a beautiful thing. And look, to end this on an even better note, right? I didn't tell y'all this, but there is going to be something special that's sitting behind me. That's not this Yankee thing. Where now there's going to be a Major League Baseball one up here for now, but I want to say in the next year there's going to be a 27-ounce neon light sitting behind the both of us, and you guys are going to be parts of that. So you guys are family, and you keep the lights on. You know what I mean, you whether you know it or not, you keep the lights on in here. So keep doing what y'all do. Y'all inside jokes is insane. And with that, we out of here, y'all. Look at them. They in here bugging. Happy New Year, y'all. Peace.